Have you ever replayed a moment from your past so many times that it feels more real than what is happening right now? That one decision, that one conversation, that one missed chance. And you wonder, what if I could go back? What if I could change it? Not in a fantasy time machine way, but in a way that actually transforms how my life unfolds from this moment forward. Here is the twist most people never hear. Your past is not as fixed as you think. Not psychologically, not neurologically, and in a surprising way, not even conceptually when you understand how perception and memory behave. Today, you're going to discover a quantum-inspired framework that doesn't rewrite history, but rewrites the meaning, emotional charge, and behavioral trajectory of your past, and that changes your future in ways that feel almost unreal. Most people treat the past like a locked vault. It happened, it's over. End of story. But let me ask you something. If the past were truly frozen, why does your memory of the same event change over time? Why does something that once felt devastating later feel trivial or even empowering? Because what you carry is not the event, it's the interpretation. And interpretations are fluid. Every time you remember something, your brain reconstructs it, not replays it, reconstructs it. That means memory is less like a video recording and more like a story you keep editing. The quantum secret begins here. Your reality is shaped less by what happened and more by how your mind collapses possibilities into meaning. Think about this. Two people experience the same failure. One says, "This proves I'm not good enough." The other says, "This is training." Same event. Completely different futures. Why? Because meaning determines action, and action determines trajectory. The moment you realize you're not trapped by events, you're guided by interpretations, you unlock a level of psychological freedom most people never touch. This is where the quantum analogy becomes powerful. In quantum theory, observation influences outcomes. In your life, attention influences identity. What you repeatedly observe about your past becomes the lens that shapes your decisions today. Here is a question that might change how you see everything. What if your past is less a prison and more a raw data set waiting for reinterpretation? Every painful memory contains unused information, hidden lessons, signals about your strengths, boundaries, and adaptability. But most people only extract one conclusion: regret. And regret is cognitively expensive. It drains energy that could be used to redesign behavior. When you revisit a memory with intention, not rumination, but analysis, you are literally updating the emotional coding attached to it. Neuroscience calls this in practical terms, it means you can revisit a memory and change how it affects you moving forward. Let's make this real. Imagine a moment you label as your biggest mistake. Feel the weight of it. Now ask, what skills did surviving that moment force me to develop? What boundaries did it teach me? What awareness did it create? The instant you ask better questions, the brain searches for different answers. And those answers reshape identity. Identity is not a fixed trait, it's a narrative. Change the narrative, and behavior follows. This is why some people appear to reinvent themselves. They didn't erase the past. They reauthored its meaning. Here's where urgency comes in. Every day you delay reframing your past is a day your old narrative continues running your decisions. Most people don't realize they are acting out scripts written years ago. Scripts based on incomplete interpretations formed under emotional stress. And those scripts silently influenced relationships, career moves, risk tolerance, and self. The quantum secret is recognizing that your current identity is not a final state. It is a probability distribution shaped by perception. Change perception, and you change the range of actions you believe are possible. Story after story shows this pattern. High performers, resilient leaders, creators who rebuilt after collapse, they share one invisible skill: narrative control. They consciously reinterpret setbacks as strategic data, not denial, not fantasy. Precision reframing. They extract utility instead of dwelling on loss, and that shift doesn't just feel better. It changes physiology. Stress responses decrease, cognitive flexibility increases. Decision-making sharpens. When you change the emotional signature of a memory, you change how your nervous system prepares for future challenges. Now pause and consider this. If your brain is constantly predicting your future based on past patterns, what happens when you update those patterns? You interrupt automatic loops. You create space for new behavior. This is the practical power of the quantum metaphor. Your observation alters your internal system. Most people observe their past through a lens of judgment. What if you observed it through a lens of engineering? Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" ask, "What system failure or success pattern does this reveal?" That single shift transforms pain into information. Let's talk about emotional gravity. Certain memories feel heavy because they are tied to identity statements. I'm unlucky. I'm not disciplined. I always mess things up. These aren't facts. They're conclusions repeated until they feel permanent. But identity statements are editable when you deliberately collect counter-evidence, moments of competence, resilience, growth. You weaken the old narrative's dominance. Over time, the brain updates its predictive model, and when prediction changes, behavior changes. This is how people break cycles that once felt inevitable. Here's a powerful exercise. Choose one defining memory you regret. Write the original interpretation in one sentence. Then write 5 alternative interpretations focused on growth, skill acquisition, or hidden opportunity. This forces cognitive flexibility. Your brain begins to see the event as multidimensional instead of absolute, and multidimensional memories lose their emotional tyranny. You're not denying what happened. You're expanding what it means. That expansion is where freedom lives. Consider how elite performers mentally rehearsed past failures. They don't relive them to suffer. They simulate improved responses. This creates new neural pathways associated with competence. When a similar situation appears, the brain has updated templates to draw from. In other words, you are retroactively training your future self by reprocessing your past. That's the operational version of changing your past. Not altering history, but altering the behavioral algorithms history installed. And here is the social proof hidden in plain sight. People who master reframing consistently show higher adaptability, confidence, and long-term success. Therapists coaches use narrative restructuring. Cognitive scientists study predictive processing. Different fields. Same principle. Your brain is editable, and the edit begins with how you observe your memories. This isn't mystical. It's practical neurocognitive leverage. Now, imagine waking up tomorrow with a different relationship to your past. Same memories, but stripped of their limiting interpretations. Instead of triggers, they become training footage. Instead of shame, they become strategy. That shift alone changes posture, tone of voice risk tolerance, and decision-making speed. People respond differently to you. Opportunities feel less intimidating, and momentum builds. Not because the world changed, but because your internal model did. Here, the truth most people never hear. Your past only controls your future. to the extent that you keep interpreting it the same way. The moment interpretation changes, trajectory changes. That's the quantum secret in action. Observation reshapes outcome. And the best part, you don't need permission, special tools, or perfect conditions. You need awareness and deliberate reinterpretation. So, the next time a regret surfaces, don't push it away. Interrogate it, extract data, recode its meaning, ask what identity it tried to install, and whether that identity still serves you. Because every memory you revisit with intention becomes a chance to redesign your behavioral blueprint. And when enough blueprints change, your life direction changes. The past is not your enemy. It's your raw material. Every mistake is compressed information waiting to be Every embarrassment is a lesson in perception and resilience. Every failure is feedback disguised as discomfort. When you start seeing your history as a library instead of a courtroom, you reclaim agency. You stop defending yourself and start designing yourself. And here's your final question. If you could reinterpret one memory today in a way that unlocks confidence instead of doubt, what would that change tomorrow? Your decisions, your conversations, your willingness to try again. That single reframing could ripple through weeks, months, even years of behavior. Your past is not fixed in the way you were taught to believe. Its meaning is negotiable. Its emotional charge is adjustable. Its lessons are expandable. And the moment you understand that, you stop trying to escape your history and start using it as propulsion. So take one memory, revisit it, rewrite the meaning, and watch how your future begins to reorganize around the new narrative you choose to live by.